right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our Webinar Wednesday series. My name is Sharon, and I'm with SIPA, your Colorado Government Authority, helping you get more information and services online and offering Colorado government's grant funding. In today's webinar, Jamie Kimes of the Idea Garden and Srini Nalapati of Scopic Analytics will be hosting a little bit different of a webinar for us than we usually have, and we're looking forward to a very interactive session with you all today. Before we get started, please go ahead and turn on captioning if you need or desire, and note that during this webinar you are muted. If you have questions or would like to communicate with presenters at any point during the webinar, please use the chat or the Q&A function. At the end of the presentation, please raise your virtual hand if you have to ask any remaining questions of them. No poll questions today, but we do hope you'll provide your feedback in the post-webinar survey. Please join me in welcoming Jamie and Srini, to whom we are grateful for sharing their time and expertise. Also on the call is SIPA's Sales and Marketing Director, Beth Justice, and Customer Success Director, Twain Tucker, if you have any questions for us. Thank you again for joining us today, and with that, I will turn it over to our guests.
I loved that, Sharon. It was even better than the safety thing you get on airplanes. You know, like put on your mask and do this and do that. It was perfect. Thank you so
Thanks.
much for having us here today. This has been really exciting leading up to it, and we're excited to be here. And it looks like we're going to have a great turnout. Our topic today is about not being behind with AI. But before we get into that, I just want you to know my company, we're the new kids on the block with SIPA. So we've been with SIPA for less than a year. It's the Idea Garden, and our mission is to nurture human creativity in the public sector. The reason that we're very involved in the whole discussion around AI is because of AI's impact on humans and human creativity, both positively and negatively going into the future. And Srini is with Scopic Analytics. I'll let you introduce yourself, Srini.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Sharon. It's pretty exciting. My name is Srini Nalapati. I've been working with state and local for more than 10 years, and we have done many business intelligence related projects with almost all the agencies here, and we are very excited about doing this webinar in the fast changing AI era. Thank you.
Changing so fast, and yet none of us are behind, right? We're going to be giving you two takeaways today, as well as three tactics to help you start slow, but start strong no matter where you are in what we're calling the AI journey, right? Whether you're state agency, local, special district, whatever it is. But before we do that, this is where we're going to get a little bit different. I love calling impromptu panels. I don't know if any of you have ever done this, but I love it. I love to take the audience off guard, right? We need three people to join us as panelists on this webinar. And here's what we're looking for. We're looking for one person who you consider yourself an absolute beginner with AI. You don't think you know anything, and you might not even have any type of ChatGPT or Gemini. You're just a beginner. We need one of those. We need one person who considers yourself kind of in the middle. You kind of understand it. And then one person who you think, yeah, I've got my hands around this, my head around this. I'm pretty good at the AI stuff. Do we have three volunteers, one from each of these groups? Sharon, I can't see what's going on, so you can let me know.
Yes, so throw your name in the chat or raise your hand and I will unmute you so you can participate.
We're not going to ask you anything that's going to be scary or intimidating. It'll be fun, I promise.
I can attest to that. All right, Mark, thank you.
I was
Let
just
me
ready to
find
call
you.
you out, Mark.
All right, Mark's in the middle. Anybody who's a beginner, like absolutely a beginner to AI.
Okay, let's see. We've got Bonnie.
Tracy's saying I might be a beginner, maybe a middle. We have Bonnie.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So we have Bonnie as our beginner. We have Mark as our middle. Do we have anyone who considers yourself pretty, not necessarily advanced, but pretty good at this? If not, we're good with beginner and middle. Okay, so let's just
Okay,
continue.
I'll throw Tracy in there as well then.
Okay, that's great. So most of the folks that we encounter, we've been training thousands of people across the state, and we encounter that there are these groups. There's people that feel like they're at the very beginning, people that are in the middle, people that are kind of advanced, and yet we're all working together in organizations, and that can become a challenge, right? So we're going to have different questions that I'm going to pose to our panelists. And if you are also a beginner, if you're also a beginner, then give Bonnie an emoji. Are there emojis, Sharon? Tell her you're on her team as the beginner team. So let's see all the emojis. Bonnie, you've got a lot of folks on your team. And if you are in the middle, give Mark a lot of love because he's representing you today. There we go. Is there any way to get off of show video or no, Sharon?
I don't think so.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to begin with a question. And this question is we're going to pose it to our panelists, and I'm also going to ask all of you to answer in the chat. But do you feel pressure, Mark and Bonnie, around AI? And if you do, where is this pressure coming from? Let's start with Mark.
When you say pressure around AI, what do you mean by pressure?
Do you feel like you're behind? Do you feel like, oh my gosh, it's moving so fast?
I feel it's a tool that is, I can't learn enough about it because it's
And Jennifer said, no, it's just a tool to learn in the chat. Mark, you're breaking up a little bit. Bonnie, what about you? Do you feel pressure around AI as a beginner?
Not really pressure. I mean, I'm sorry, I've watched some videos on YouTube, shorts, and the only way I can tell if it's AI is if they have a little circle on the bottom that says AI. Most of the time, all I see is just images of AI. But I've never, I mean, I know it's something that it's, okay, I don't really know that much about it, but to me, it can go ahead and give you false information if it's done incorrectly or fraudulently because it looks real. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So maybe it's not pressure that I have to be doing this and I have to be keeping up, but it's a little bit of pressure about how do I know what's real and what's not real because this is not always real information, right? And
Right.
Mark says he does feel pressure to keep up with new ways about how to use it. And several of you are agreeing with Mark and Bonnie as well. So if you think about being behind with AI, we hear these things all the time, like if you're not using AI, you're already behind, right? Or AI won't replace you, but someone who uses AI is going to replace you. Or AI is moving so fast, AI is changing everything. And what we want to do today is really say we can let go of a lot of that noise because we're really not behind. This is still very close to the beginning, and we can take it at our own pace. We have had to learn things all the way through our lives, right? And we're never actually gonna catch up. That's just something that's like dangling this carrot in front of a mule. Like you're never actually going to get there. But we're going to give you some ways to just get started. The word I want you to leave with, if you remember nothing else from today, is the word capable. I love this word because to me, capability equals confidence. And when we think about being capable with something that's new like AI, we have to remember that capability does not mean understanding all of the intricacies of AI or any other technology. It doesn't mean you have to have the skills to go build and implement it or even know exactly where it could be built or implemented right now. It doesn't mean you have to be in the weeds on AI and be able to discuss every single thing about it. But for each of us, what capability does mean is having a foundational understanding of what AI is, how it works, how to use it responsibly, and its risks and its benefits. And if you can get to that level, then it really doesn't matter what comes in the future because you're going to be capable and able to make the decisions you need to make as an individual or as an organization to get wherever you want to go. And I have another question for our panelists, and I would want to ask everyone here too as well. You can put it in the chat. But the very first thing that we're going to say as a tactic is start with why. So many places, if you go to conferences, etc., it's leading with the technology. These are the use cases. This is how you can use it. These are the advances. These are the companies that just built another tool, right? None of that matters if there's not a really strong why for why you would either need to learn it or need to apply it in your organization. And I want to start on the personal level and then go to the organizational level with this whole concept of start with why. This is what I call the personal why statement. Before we do things, before we decide we're going to put any kind of effort into something, we kind of have to know why. So I'm going to start with Mark. And Mark, what we're going to do is we're going to go through this why statement. And basically, it's saying that if from increasing my capability with AI, I could accomplish X, then I could derive what specific benefit resulting in what specific outcome. Mark, as a person in the middle here, what if you increase your capability with AI, you could accomplish what?
I'm going to go back to about 20 years ago when I was writing
Okay.
software.
Yep.
I would use it to write software because the designs are hard, and this would have made my designs better and less error prone, I think.
Okay. So if Mark could increase his capability with AI, he could design software and write software to a greater complexity. And what benefit would you get from that, Mark, personally
Um,
as a human?
the benefit is not spending hours trying to rack my brain out on things.
Okay, so you're going to save time, and
Yes.
that is going to result in what? How is that going
Um,
to change you as a person?
it allows me to do more, but also produce a better quality product, which is what I'm paid to do.
Okay, so you're going to do better at your job and you're going to be more valuable even at your job. So if you can increase your AI capability, you're going to be able to write better software. That's going to result in saving time and make you more valuable at work, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome. Bonnie, you are from the beginner side. Anybody on the middle relate to what Mark said? This is going to really increase your value, make you, I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
see. Yeah, there's folks
And,
here.
and I would add less stressed as well because you're able to do your job more efficiently.
Less stressed. Okay. Love it. And Bonnie, you are in the beginner here. So if
And
you
I'm going to
increase your
send it on the
capability with
chat.
AI,
Okay.
go ahead.
So I had I wrote something and it was an email that was going to go out, and then somebody came back and said, this sounds kind of like fifth grade stuff. Don't use AI because it'll go ahead and it'll rewrite it for you and make it sound more professional. And I was like, really? Because I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. So
Really,
if you increase your capability around using that, right, around using
yeah,
AI,
yeah.
what would
Now
you
I
be
go to
able to
Google.
accomplish?
Yeah, now I go to Google and I say professionally saying, and I type in what I want, and hopefully something comes back.
Okay, so you're going to be able to accomplish sounding more professional, right? You're going to sound more professional. What benefit are you going to get from that? If you come across as more professional, how does that benefit you?
Well, I think it gives more confidence. My peers have more confidence in me because it sounds better when they read it.
Okay, so she's gonna accomplish becoming more professional. That's gonna give her the benefit of people are gonna have more confidence in her, which I'm willing to bet is going to result in her having more confidence in herself. And this goes back to that capability thing, right? And each one of you, I would challenge you to finish this why statement for yourself, not for the organization, but for you. What is your why for even being here today in this webinar? Now, when we move forward and we leave the individual side and we go more to the organizational side, it's really important if you're thinking of any type of AI use case. And an AI use case is just how we apply AI to what we do, right? If you have any ideas for AI use cases, it's very important to also start with why. AI does not matter. It is completely irrelevant unless it is relevant to something you want to do or someone you want to become. That is the only reason that this matters at all. Okay, so let's change this why statement into an AI use case. And Mark, do you have anything at what organization are you with?
I'm with the town of Castle Rock.
No way. Okay, I
Yeah.
used to live there. And Survivor has an event happening there tomorrow.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
Yes. Town of Castle Rock. Okay. Do you have any ideas in the town of Castle Rock about ways that you've been thinking of maybe using AI?
We're using it a lot of ways.
Okay.
Currently, we've got a water project where AI is being used to listen to the frequency in the pipes to determine where a water leak is.
Okay, that is phenomenal. That's a great example. So let's rewind. Pretend you hadn't started this project yet, right?
Okay.
And you know that you have like this issue and you're thinking about maybe using AI for it. There is no AI use case that exists without data. Data is the information that is in the technology systems that we have, right? And
Correct.
it's very important to know that from AI, the only way that it's AI is if there is a learning component. If it's not learning, it's not AI. So if we go through this why statement, Mark, you would have had to say if from certain data. What is the data that you're pulling from for this AI project?
Um, the data would be our financial check request process.
Okay. So if from financial check request process data, you could learn what information do you have to be able to learn from that?
How many times we're touching something for an approval?
Okay, how many times we're touching something for an approval, then what group is going to get a benefit? Is it your employees? Is it constituents? Where's the benefit?
I'll focus it on the person making the check request. They will benefit from a faster workflow.
Okay, they're going to get a faster workflow resulting in what?
Um, a faster outcome.
A faster outcome and probably a happier person
Yes.
and lots of different. Okay, so that's a very compelling use case that Mark just found. If, as an organization, you start with the technology and you just start thinking, okay, here's AI, where can we use it? You're probably going to end up doing some things without necessarily knowing why. If you start with a why statement like this, if you ask vendors to fill out this why statement before they sell something to you, right? Yeah, like you sounds like you have a good product, fill out this why statement. Like, what am I going to get from it? If you have people on your team who are pushing you for an AI solution, have them fill out this why statement. If you're a leader and you're really wanting to bring your team into something and maybe they're a little bit reluctant, fill out this why statement because it's much easier to agree on what Mark just said than it is to agree on AI. Like, yeah, we all agree that these what were they called again, Mark?
The check request.
The check request, we definitely want this better outcome, right? And if we can agree on that outcome, then we're going to have a better chance of having success when we start talking about what technology might work for that. So, tactic number one, what is it, Mark? Start with why.
So
Data.
what I hear you saying is focus on the business why.
Yes. First, your personal why, right? Because
Hmm.
AI is also a personal decision for each of us. There's
Sure.
a lot of concerns around this, like environment. How does it affect artists? What about bias? Is it going to make me dumber? You know, if I'm using it to write my emails, am I going to actually lose some cognitive agility? So, number one, it's a personal decision for you. And number two, as your organization, how do we start with why? Is everybody with us here so far?
Yes.
I'm loving our impromptu panelists. Bonnie, do you have anything to add to this?
No, no. It's
Okay.
interesting.
Okay. So let's continue on. Second tactic to start slow but start strong is to prioritize literacy, learning. How many of you, when you started a new career or even just early on in life, is there ever anything that you've done without first having to learn something? Mark, Bonnie, have you ever just gone into something and not had to learn anything at all?
Sometimes.
Okay, you're just like a protege. Okay, but most things kind of require some type of learning, right? And when we talk about literacy, it really ties back to that capability, understanding what AI is, how it works, how to use it responsibly, and its risks and its benefits, right? And when we talk about literacy, Mark and Bonnie, I have this question for you, and I'd love to see answers in the chat as well. Where do you start normally as a human when you want to learn something new? And how do you know what's important to learn and what's not important to learn? It's a little bit of a big question. Let's start with Mark.
I start by reading things. I look to books or the internet, just trying to read to know more about it, to know what to ask about more. So trying to find enough knowledge to dig deeper.
Okay, so you start with reading. Have you done that with AI where you've kind of gone and you've just started doing a lot of reading?
Oh, I have.
Okay.
It's overwhelming.
There's so much out there, right? It's a
There
very
is.
noisy right now. Bonnie, what about you? How do you start something? What do you know what's important to learn, and how do you start when it's time to learn something?
Um, I ask questions a lot. I'm one of those people too that I'm hands-on. I have to do it sometimes for it to stick in my brain. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask questions and then I'll try it, to see if it works. And then sometimes I get steps and procedures and I rewrite them because they don't work for me. But they'll work. I have to rewrite them. It's weird.
Would everyone agree that we're all a little bit like Mark and Bonnie, that we start reading and we start asking questions, and that's kind of how we just start getting our feet wet with something? Yeah, like that's kind of how we approach learning a lot as humans. And when we look at literacy, there's really three elements that happen with literacy. We have to learn and be exposed to all of the information. Then we need to be able to have places where we can apply what we've learned. But it's also important to be able to see how other people are applying what they've learned and what they're learning. And that all happens in community. So learning works best when you're learning and applying within a community. We're going to try this now and make it a little bit real. I don't know how to ask this question and get a good response, Sharon, but how many folks on the call actually have access right now where you could just pull up like a Gemini or a Chat GPT? I don't know. I want to know if I should get a little bit hands-on or if I should not. If you want a little bit of hands-on, then put in the chat hands-on. Okay, it looks like folks are wanting some hands-on. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of hands-on here, but we're going to start with learning, and then Srini's going to take over in a minute about application and community. But the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to learn just basic prompting, very beginner prompting. And Bonnie, I'm going to use you for this since you are a 100% beginner. I'm going to put something up on the screen, and I want you to tell me not what your answer to this question is, but what's going on in your mind when you see this question. And I want everyone who's on this call to imagine that this is you're prompting a GPT, right? You're prompting Gemini, you're prompting ChatGPT, but we just happen to be prompting Bonnie instead. And also, all of you be thinking of how you would respond to this. Okay, you use Gemini, Bonnie? Okay. So,
Mhm.
Bonnie, tell me about a time you learned something important. What is happening in your brain when you think about this? Is it hard to find an answer?
No, I know the answer. I learned something the other day, and I had to research first and try to find the answer before I could do it. So I spent a lot of time researching something first.
But when I ask you this, when I say, tell me about a time you learned something important, for all of you on the call as well, what's happening in your head? And Mark, how about you too as well? What's happening in your head when you see this?
I think, is it important to me or to somebody else? So that's how I think about what's important mean.
Right. So you're basically having to fill in gaps because what I've given you here, let's say this was a prompt. What I've given Mark is instructions. I've told him what to do. I've said, tell me about a time you learned something important. I told Bonnie, tell me about a time you learned something important. And Mark's saying, okay, important to who? Important to what? It's very general because I am prompting everything that Mark has ever experienced and everything Bonnie has ever experienced in her life, and they have to do a lot of filling in the blanks. Instructions are a very important part of a prompt. But now, what if I add this? And Bonnie, I say, tell me about a time you learned something important from a stranger. Is it easier to find that in your data?
No. Mm-mm.
It's not easier.
No.
Okay. Is it easier for you, Mark?
Yeah, I just had this recently where somebody showed me to buy something a lot cheaper at the grocery store, and it was the same thing, but I didn't know it. But they
Okay,
saw me
so
looking at the more expensive one, and they helped me out.
Jose said the most important decision we made in our life, have the guts to walk. And Tracy, I didn't realize that you were here this whole time. I thought you were only in the chat. So Tracy's saying you're thinking back in time, right? Now, what I've done is I've added context to this prompt. And I've now said, here's the instructions. Tell me about a time you learned something important from a stranger. I've added context. I have now eliminated all of the data for Mark, Bonnie, and Tracy that has anything to do with anyone, anywhere that is not a stranger. And I've really limited what I'm looking for now. But still, I could keep on switching the context. So I could say, tell me about a time you learned something important from failure. Tell me about a time do you have that, Tracy? Can you get to that? Time
From a stranger?
No, from failure. When I switch it,
Oh,
can you
yeah.
feel your brain switch?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. From your best friend, can you feel it switch?
Yeah.
From a book?
Yeah.
In school?
Yeah.
Right. And all of you probably can experience this. This is what's happening every time you type in a prompt. It's like putting on a pair of glasses and just like switching the focus. Where is it going to go? And even small words will make a big difference. So this is the context. Now we're going to add format. This is really important in a prompt. So we have, tell me about a time you learned something important from failure when you were a kid, and tell me what you learned using 5 words that a child would understand. So format, when we're talking about prompting, this would be saying something like, give it to me in bullets, give it to me in a table format, give it to me in 7th grade language. But tell me what you learned using 5 words that a child would understand. I'm going to add one more thing before I ask all of you to put your answers to this in the chat. But the other thing is you can add constraints. This is where you tell it what not to do. So you say, do not include events that resulted from falling off your bike or cooking pasta. Okay? So everybody, I'm going to ask Mark and Bonnie and Tracy to answer this question, but everybody put it into the chat. Tell me about a time you learned something important from failure when you were a kid. Tell me what you learned using 5 words that a child would understand, and don't include anything that resulted from falling off your bike or cooking pasta. And let's see what comes into the chat. In the meantime, Mark, do you have 5 words?
I'm struggling with that.
It's hard, right? Once you get into that format, it's hard.
It is.
Tracy, do you have one?
Not yet. I have one that includes falling off your bike.
Oh no. Okay,
Yeah.
so you see how constraints actually limited what she's saying. Bonnie, do you have 5 words that a child would understand?
I told you not to do that.
I told you not to do that. Yes, okay.
I have one.
Okay, go ahead, Sharon.
It's a little more than 5 words. Never try to copy your mother's signature.
This is what we just went to forgery. We just went to forgery on a public sector meeting. I can't even.
Third grade, you know how you had to have like sometimes teachers would send things home that parents had to sign, so you
Yep.
got something the next day. And I forgot to have my mom sign this little stupid piece of paper, so I tried to sign for her. Oh, was that the wrong thing to do?
Oh my God. Well, if you ever want a change of career, I'm sure you could find something somewhere that would be interested in that. Okay, we have in the chat, don't wander away from parents, be kind and keep learning. What happened here is we got a very specific result because our prompt was very specific and we got to high quality information very quickly. I could have used probably 15 different questions to finally get to that same story with Sharon, or this one came really quickly. Never tell a lie, Anita said. The last thing that you can do that changes the entire thing is you can actually put in a role. So if I right now put in a role and I say, you are a fictional character who is 90 years old and grew up on Mars. Now tell me about a time you learned something important from failure when you were a kid. Do you see how that changes it too? So each part of the prompt, just like it would change your answer to a question, is going to change what's going to come out of something like Gemini or ChatGPT, etc. And now I want to get a little bit hands-on. Sharon, do you have that document that I sent you?
Oh, yes, I do have
You
that.
do? Okay. So Sharon is going to put something in the chat. If you have Gemini or ChatGPT, anything that you have, just pull it up and I want you to try these to see how it switches it. this is going to be the first one. So I'm going to put in just the instructions. So what I've done is I've included draft a summary of the executive order titled Eliminating State Law Obstruction of whatever from the White House, and I've included a website link. This is just the instructions. So if I hit enter on that, and you can copy it from the chat and try it on your own, I'm going to get, it's a little bit lengthy. I've got some bullets, kind of keeps going. It has to do a lot of guessing, right? Is anyone doing this along with me? Mark or Tracy or Bonnie, are you following along?
Yes, I am.
Okay, are you getting something like this where it kind of gives you a lot of information and is key provisions, actions, etc.?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put a new prompt in. I'm going to start a new chat because I don't want it to get confused by that beginning one. But now I'm going to put in something where I have task and context. And Sharon's going to put that in the chat as well. Draft a summary of the executive order titled Eliminating Law and Obstruction. And then the context is this is intended to help Colorado Bureau of Investigation leadership understand federal preemption affects state level AI forensic regulations, right? And I'm going to hit enter. And we're going to see it's going to start changing a little bit. Now we have, okay, this is specifically to the leadership of the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. And it's going to try to, it again brings in CBI leadership. It's starting to change based on that. Are you seeing the same thing, Mark and Tracy and Bonnie?
Yes.
Very
I'm
similar,
choosing a
yes.
different task, but kind of.
Okay, it changed it in some way, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Now let's try where we add in format. And this is where it gets good because format could be bullet points, like I said, tables, etc. So you can do it, the third one, Sharon. So we're giving it the same task. We're giving it the same context. It's for CBI. And the format is organize the information into a high-level executive summary. And I even want to add in there like using bullet points. You're not going to probably get this like you could add in using bullet points of no more than 50 words each or something. Now,
I
if
have
I
a
do,
question. Are you actually typing in there the brackets, task, context? Are you typing in those brackets?
no, that's just for demonstration purposes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, yeah. Because we did not get something that changed very much on this because our format was very general. If I were to do that exact same thing and I put it in here and I say organize the information into a high-level executive summary using bullet points of no more than 20 words each, right? And then I hit enter. Then bam, I just got it a lot more succinct. You see that? So the format is one of the most important parts of the prompt. Let's go on to the next part, and I'm actually going to include that. Sharon, before you do it, I'm going to add this. Okay, no, it looks like the next part works. Okay, so I'm going to start a new chat again. This time I have the tasks, so same task, same context, CBI, format, organize the information to high-level executive summary, and then we have constraints. Ensure the content does not exceed 300 words and use plain language accessible to a non-technical audience. And now if I hit enter on that, then we start getting things that are different in terms of how it's the words that are being used, right? Are you all seeing little differences in how this prompt comes out?
Yes.
Okay, what are you noticing, Mark?
The organization of the content is a little different depending on the parameters. Some things are up high, some things are down low, depending on the prompt. The content just, I'm looking at all of them side by side, they just look slightly different.
Okay, and it depending on how you do that format, like the format is going to be big and the context are going to be probably your two biggest ones in terms of how it's going to change. Mark, if you were to go in and you were to say, Nikki, you're getting the same thing, like it's kind of changing and you're using Copilot. If you said, give it to me in a table, that's going to be very different. If you say, give it to me in 100 words, that's going to be different. So these are the basic building blocks of a prompt. And we've basically just demonstrated that we can learn, right? We can all learn together. And now we're going to have Srini show us some applications of this, like real world AI use cases. And I just want you to notice that we're doing this in community right now, right? We can learn
Nice.
together. Yes. Okay, so Srini, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, and you can talk about applying and community for a moment.
Thank you. Thank you, Jamie. It's pretty exciting in this era of AI, and we have a really good mix of AI users from beginners to advanced. So, Mark, do you remember? So you have computer science background. Do you remember Fortran and Pascal?
I learned on Fortran.
See, my programming, I have a computer science background. My journey started with writing Fortran's, scripts.
77 columns.
Yeah, and some of you might know, you got mail. You remember you got mail? How we started the internet era. You used to get that you got mail thing. So that's how you started. And now I'm pretty excited about what the use case you are doing for water, detection and all. So Mark, we use in Cloud Code big time. So if you remember, if you started the whole journey where now you type the code and Claude or advanced Gemini or Google Studio, you can build the entire code base and you can build the apps and everything in matter of minutes. So it has changed the world big time. So having having what I have seen the evolution, I'll leave you with one thought. So back in the days, I have two adult kids now. Back in the days, when my kids used to come, Dad, can you solve this math problem? They said, hey, bring it on, son. I will just whip it out, right? Now, now if you ask any questions, they will say, no, that's not what Chat GPT is saying. And if you answer something, they will say, no, that's not. So, this wisdom dad is no longer wisdom anymore. And then now what I do is, if they ask me question, then I have on my phone, I will be doing Chat GPT and who will get the better prompt. So the competition is not who is going to answer better, but who is going to get a prompt from the Chat GPT or any of the AI tool. So that's the era we are living in. So I'm going to share a quick, since we have wide variety of audience, and thanks to Jamie, and she has done she has trained hundreds of Colorado state and local users on how to get started on AI, right? So I'll start with how you can start your AI journey. It's when you start, like some of the basic AI use cases, right? So policy and procedure copilot, where you can ask the questions and you can get the answers quickly. And other one is like meeting and call summary using copilot or Jam or any of the things that you use. And other thing is drafting assistant. So I'll just talk about the basic ones if you are starting your AI journey, because we have the spectrum of users. So with policy and procedure copilot, you can just say pick most, like 20 to 50 most used documents, add the search and citation, and staff review and education, and it's easy to answer, and and onboard IT help desk knowledge base and grant and finance procedures. So these are, you might have already started on this, but I'm touching on these simple use case anyways. And and meeting call summarization. So one page summary. It's like you can do the meeting calls that you attend, and then it's easy to follow up and easy to summarize. So it improves the productivity on your meeting and call summarization. And third one is drafting assistant. You can, if you're, yeah, since we are dealing with state and local, and permit licensing status and common citizens inquiries, like you can have predefined templates, and then do the mail or web outreach, and all these things you can do in a much quicker way. So you can rewrite, and drafts can be much quicker to do and use the same templates again. And then from there you can do a advanced AI use cases. That's where I want to touch on some of the public records request processing. And most of you familiar with Cora and other requests. Then you can do in database and email archive searches, and flag sensitive information, and connect the document repository, and route the complex requests to appropriate stuff. So with the human intervention still, but some of the stuff that you have you need to quickly go through, you can do that one. And 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 the other one I can think about, I can say, is like other state and locals are implementing, is using permit and inspection automation, where AI scans can be submitted, building permit application, blueprints, and document, and identify missing information, flag potential safety. Some of the redundant work we can use the AI to automate the process itself. And the last one is like you can do fraud detection too, and I've seen use cases doing on this one. Unemployment insurance, welfare benefits, where AI patterns recognize AI patterns, and flag anomalies and duplicate claims, and some of those things. So how we are, what we started is how we are bringing this AI communities across Rockies. You can check us out on LinkedIn. I'm the founder of Rocky Mountain AI Network, and Jamie is one of our board member, and we have a great board. And our vision is to bring both public sector, private sector, and also higher education communities together, and see how we can do this, connect this AI innovation across all these communities in the Rockies, right? We have every quarter we have a AI summit, and last couple of quarters we did on public sector and private sector, and we have CIOs coming in and giving their organizational vision and roadmap, how they are doing. And then we are also demo like the real world use cases that you see from other organizations across like public, private, and higher education. So I have done these things for almost 10 years, and in sometimes giving back to the community is the biggest satisfaction you get, either with the technology or anything that you do as a service, right? The next one, upcoming one, is on March 12th. I'll put the links on our website as well as the registration, where you can see how we have great fireside channel with University of Colorado Springs chancellor, and also vice chancellors from CU border, and see how the AI is changing everywhere, including the higher education, including the middle and high school education too. And we have other great speakers like from private sector and also from public sector. So having said that, now let me demo a use case that we are working with um, pilot project with Colorado Department of Early Childhood. And let me show this one where we are building an intelligent knowledge repository across. There are hundreds of documents, and then we want to quickly ask the prompts. Like, we are saving all the prompts, and you can see all the prompts like, hey, what are the high risk contracts, especially I'm working with the procurement, and then total value of the contracts. So what it does is it goes and goes through hundreds of pages of the document, and then we are saving the prompts, and then see how this data will be retrieved. Like, you want to see quickly what are the this is on a public document, and then you can quickly see the totals, and it returns back. So this is one of the use case we are doing with AI, and and leading into the other. Let me show. Yeah, and so we all are coming together with, not only as a community, but there is a great program that Jamie and I have working together. It's called 64 by 26, where AI literacy across all Coloradans by 2026. It's a very ambitious program, but we are very excited about it, and giving back to Jamie just to provide more details on that one. Thank you.
Oh, you're on mute, Jamie.
That's bingo. That's conference webinar bingo.
It
Right.
is.
I would really encourage folks to join the Rocky Mountain AI Network. It's totally free. We've been meeting at Denver University, but okay, so 64 by 26. This is it's an experiment. We don't know how exactly it's going to go, but it's an experiment. I'll go over it really quickly. We're going to do a learning cohort that's open to all public sector in Colorado. We want to just start with one pilot learning cohort. And the first program we're going to be doing is called the AI Dialogues. It's a foundational AI literacy program where we talk about what AI is and how it works in session 1. We talk about privacy, open records consideration, free versus paid tools, etc. in session 2. In sessions 3 and 4, we get hands-on with prompting and use cases. In session 5, we talk about ethics. What about the environment? What about artists, etc.? And we wrap it up with teaching you how to identify AI use cases in your workflows. The 4 learning outcomes are AI literacy, responsible use, basic prompting, and IDing AI use cases. I'm going to put a link in the chat. If anyone is interested in hearing more about or maybe opting into this program, just go ahead and do that form, but we're really, really excited about it. And in the next 3 minutes, because we're going to leave 10 minutes for questions, I want to give you our final tactic for today. Our first one was start with why, right? Our second one was prioritize literacy. And tactic number 3 is balance short and long-term thinking. And I want to demonstrate this by telling a little story. The University of Cambridge, back in 2024, they put together a simulation and a program where they had 344 participants, and it was actually based on the automotive industry, a simulation of the automotive industry. What it was there was a group of undergrad and grad students competing against a group of senior banking execs, and they were all competing against ChatGPT 4.0 at the time. How it worked was that you wanted to grow the company or the bank and not get fired by the virtual board. Every single round of the game basically was based on one fiscal year, and this slide is really weird and wonky how it's working, but one fiscal year, there were 500,000 possible decision combinations, and there was no fixed winning formula. Who do you think got fired first? Sharon, who do you think got fired first?
I'm going to bet the senior execs.
That is what everyone says. What is it? Do we have an authority problem in our I don't know. Everyone always says execs, and you're almost right. But it was actually ChatGPT 4.0 consistently outperformed top human participants on nearly every metric, but it got fired first, and it got fired faster. The execs were actually a very close second. They were right behind. But what was interesting about this was that both the executives and Gen AI or ChatGPT started off really strong. At one point, they were 3 years ahead of their competition, being the undergrad and grad students. They locked in on growth, on optimization and efficiency, and they were short-term thinkers. They were getting the quick wins. It was the students, the undergrad students, who actually won, and it was because of this. All three groups did very well on rapid learning in a controlled environment, on growth and optimization and efficiency, and on short-term thinking. But where GPT and the execs kind of fell down was with effectively coping with disruptive events requiring human intuition, like trusting their guts, and long-term thinking and adaptability. That was where the students really shone because they were really good at that. Both GPT and the executives succumb to the same flaw: overconfidence in a system that rewards flexibility and long-term thinking. Right now, a lot of the discussion in public sector is around mostly productivity, right? Productivity and efficiency and what these tools can do. And they can do so much. They really can help us. We know people that are saving thousands of hours of time, right? But as we focus on all of this leading literature that's saying efficiency, efficiency, productivity, operational efficiency in public sector, I'm actually a partner with the public sector network. I love their work. There's just another side that we need to be aware of. Efficiency, productivity. At the same time, we're getting reports from the American Institute of Stress that's saying that 80% of employees are reporting productivity anxiety. And they're saying that they're productive at work, but it's coming at a cost. And we have to be thinking about, okay, this push and just this focus on this short-term productivity, what kind of messages are we communicating to our team and to ourselves about the value of our work, about what's important, and what is the impact of that, not just today, but in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? What we want is really all of this. We do want the quick wins. We do want the productivity, but we want to be able to still have our intuitions, be adaptable, and be long-term in our thinking. I want to leave you with this final takeaway that however you choose to move forward with AI, both as an individual or an organization, just do it on purpose and do it in community. That would be our number one recommendation. Do it in community. In summary, AI doesn't matter unless it's relevant to something you do or something you want to become, both as a person and an organization. However you choose to move forward with AI as an individual or an organization, do it on purpose and do it together. And for tactics, start with why, prioritize literacy, and balance short and long-term thinking. And that is it. We can open it up for questions.
Excellent. Does anyone have any questions? You can throw it in the chat, raise your hand.
It looks like there's some questions in the chat. Yeah, the Rocky Mountain AI Network is both hybrid and in person. I think last time, Srini, we had almost 100 people there. And this time we're going to have the Jennifer Sobonet from UCCS, as well as someone from the University of Boulder as well. It's going to be very education focused. Jennifer Risley said, what is the low cost for the program? Jennifer, that's being kind of determined right now. It kind of is going to be determined by how much interest there is. If we can get a lot of interest, we're going to be able to get the cost really low. At the most, it would be $120 for 1 to 24 people. If you have 25 to 60 people, it would be $90 a person. And if you have more than 60 people that you want to include, then it would be $60 a person at the highest. That's where it is right now. Jennifer said, is there a tool or guide to help you learn what prompts to use when asking AI to do something? There's a lot of resources online about that. We do have some. And if you want to reach out to me, let me put my Jamie at the Idea Garden .fun. It's .fun. Spam blockers do not like that, I can assure you. You can reach out and we can work about that. And yes, Mark says, ask AI. Can we all say thank you so much to Mark and Tracy and Bonnie for your impromptu participation? Love it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you again, everyone, for being here, for participating. We really do appreciate it. You've made it fun for sure. I'm going to throw some links in the chat for you real quick. I want you to make sure to check out our website because, there's always good stuff there. We've got some great webinars coming up on February 18th next week. Your SIPA team will be reviewing our grant programs, which open for applications March 1st and March 9th for microgrant and gov grants, respectively. On February 25th, barring that the government shutdown doesn't continue, we will have someone from the Center for Cybersecurity Infrastructure and Security Agency, better known as CISA, to talk about free cybersecurity resources that they have available for you. March 11th, Boston Consulting Group is going to be chatting with us about human-centered design. March 25th, Cornflower Labs is going to be presenting their new AI chatbot. We're pretty excited about that. April 1st, Kaizen Labs for all you special districts, their reservation platforms, how they can help you out with getting residents booked into things that you offer. April 15th, we've got MSISAC again on cybersecurity, kind of a theme this year. May 13th, Tyler, Colorado is going to be presenting their resident AI search application. And May 27th, we've got the National Cybersecurity Center before we take our summer break. Our regional workshops are back and they're starting in April in Huerfano County and Delta County, and we have one in May in the town of Lyman. So if you're in those areas, we would love to see you. Come join us, please. We always have a great time. And then you can find any of those links to register for any of those events on our website. You can find that here in our events page. If I can get that back into the chat, because of course it's not letting me open up that right now. Anyway, again, thank you all for joining us today. It was wonderful to have you. Jamie and Srini, thank you so much for your expertise and your time. We really appreciate you being here, and we hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day.